Hey guys, how are you doing today? It's P. Gilbert, your blogger, writing consultant, and the author to the fantasy novella, The Sultan's Daughter. And today we are honoured to have an interview with the filmmaker and animator Thomas J Yagodinski. Thomas created an animated, Star Wars themed homage to the late guitarist Edward Van Halen and a video for the song Gatteka by Ghostemane. Together, these videos have accrued around 10 million views. Thomas is talented, knowledgeable, and vivacious. Here is the interview. Enjoy. So tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you come from, and how did this place influence you to become a filmmaker and an animator?
I'm from a small town in Wisconsin in the United States called Casco. We have a population of 600 people. So I grew up here. I turned 18. I got out of here as fast as I possibly could. Lived in Detroit, Madison, Wisconsin, Los Angeles, kind of got out there, lived around, and then I ended up back here. And the influence it has on me personally is there's not a lot going on here. So there's no distractions. I have plenty of time to concentrate on work.
Well, that's fantastic. The old place sounds incredibly small. Like you could walk, outside of it within a matter of moments.
Absolutely.
Which three filmmakers and or animators do you look up to, and why them in particular?
This is without a doubt, Paul, the hardest question you asked, because I could make a list of 100 people who have influenced me, whether filmmakers or painters, sculptors, animators, musicians, the writers, the list goes on and on. So I went with the three who affected me the most as in my formidable years as a kid. There's the two Georges, George Lucas and George Romero. Absolutely had a huge influence on me as a child. Star Wars and Night of the Living Dead completely changed how I take in entertainment and how I would want to tell a story. For the third one, I went with H.R. Geiger because I saw his artwork as a way too young, and it's never left me. It's in everything I make. So I had to pare it down to three, and those are the ones I went with.
That really doesn't surprise me about the two Georges. The third one, though, I've not heard of him. Thank you for enlightening us.
Yeah, Geiger is the Swiss artist who created the alien in the movie Alien, the Ridley Scott film. Yeah,
now I know what you're referring to. I can totally see that.
Yeah,
those are fantastic influences. You recently created a Star Wars themed homage to the late guitarist Edward Van Halen, which racked up over 500,000 views in 6 weeks. That's amazing. Not to mention a lovely tribute to the guitarist. What inspired you to make this tribute, and how did you come up with the animation?
Thanks, Paul. The idea came into my head when I heard Eddie Van Halen's son Wolfgang on the Howard Stern show here in the States, and that got me thinking about what would be the how great of a challenge would it be to replicate his solo in stop motion frame, like to really recreate the solo itself. So that's where it all kind of started. At that point, I kind of said to myself, well, you have to have that guitar. So if they make such a thing at a small scale, then that is the path showing me that I need to make this thing. Of course, they make that thing at that scale. There's a great company called Axe Heaven that makes 16-inch guitar replicas. So I got the guitar and I started to put together reference footage for fingers on frets. And it wasn't until about a week before I started to shoot it that I decided to have a Jawa do it, because I cannot make an Eddie Van Halen puppet that doesn't look like a monster. and I thought, well, how fun is that? A Jawa of all people, So that was it. That was all it. That's all it came to, and it took about a month, and I'm completely blown away by the response. I almost didn't put it up because it was really a challenge to myself. I'm just happy that other people find some kind of, tribute. They enjoyed the tribute, because that's all I meant. I wasn't trying to, I just wanted to make something fun.
You most certainly did. You produced, as I say, a really nice tribute. That was an ingenious idea of yours to have a Jawa thing. And you put it together brilliantly. You should be so proud of yourself. You deserve all the praise you're getting for it.
Oh, thank you.
You also animated and directed the video for the song Gatteka by Ghostemane, which has been viewed over 9 million times. Again, that's amazing and shows your talent, honestly. How did you come up with the animation for it?
That's another good story. I was contacted by Ghostemane through a mutual animation friend of ours, a fellow named Trent Shy, who is quite a well-known animator. And Ghostemane basically gave me a treatment for that particular song. And it's exactly what you see in the video. The treatment is line by line. The challenge was, it's a 2-minute song. Every verse has to push the story forward to actually make it all fit into that 2 minutes. So yeah, the idea was completely, and the characters are all completely Ghostemane's. Even that world is very much created by him. I was just happy it was just a playground that I loved playing in for 5 months, or however, I think it's about how long it took to make the whole video.
What kind of film and or animation haven't you directed yet that you would like to do? And would you make a film outside of animation?
I'm actually in the kind of the process of moving towards getting away a little bit from music videos and shorter, I guess, internet content. It's always been my dream to tell stories. So right now I'm working in the short film, genre, because stop motion, it would take probably half a lifetime to make a feature film myself. But yeah, so right now I'm actually transitioning over into more short film content. And so that, I do a lot in the horror genre. I'd certainly like to get, into comedy at some point, because laughter is the absolute greatest thing it's the best Band-Aid for anything to me. And, yeah, I can't see myself being on a set with, trying, that's a whole different game. That's a whole different ball game. I'm much happier by myself in my shop, squirreling away with puppets. And I think that's what I'm best at. I don't know that I would be a great person to direct human beings.
I think you're too hard on yourself. I think you'd be really good at it, but that's for you to decide. On a meta level, what does creating animation mean to you?
Really, and that's another great question, Paul. Really, what it comes down to me is being able to filter emotions into these inanimate objects and try to fool people into caring about them.
That's a nice way of putting it. Good one, mate. I like it a lot. If you could go back in time and speak with your younger self, what advice would you give him about becoming a filmmaker and an animator?
I could go 2 parts on this question. Part 1 would be, I would tell him, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep watching movies. Technology is going to catch up to where you don't have to, you don't need $100,000 to make a short film. You need an iPhone and a laptop or an iPad. So I would tell him to keep watching movies, keep ignoring the naysayers, and just keep on the path, because you are going to end up where you want to be at some point. The second part of the question, I would tell him to not talk to her. Enough said.
You have opened up a can of worms there to find out who this her is. But no, we're not going down there. Funny. What is the most rewarding part of creating animation for you?
Oh, without a doubt, it's the watching the end product. I'm pretty good at taking myself out of the equation. When something's done, I can enjoy it like you or anybody else. I don't sit there and go, oh, I did that. I'm completely disconnected. So I can watch Gatteka and just enjoy it for what it is, or anything that I've worked on. So yeah, definitely the end product is what I love to sit back and have a drink and just watch and enjoy and go, wow, somebody way cooler than me made this.
Well, the last bit isn't actually true, as clearly you did make it. But I totally understand. I totally understand that. That's really wonderful that you can sit back and enjoy it and not be overly critical, or perhaps not overly critical of yourself and your performance, and just say, you know what, this is a great piece of work. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, well, and luckily, a lot of times I do get the opportunity to work on something to get rid of anything that would bother me personally. So when I do watch them, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything with any of them. They're all got their, warts, but you need that sometimes.
We've discussed the most rewarding part of creating animation, but what is the most challenging part of creating animation?
For myself, I would say starting. When you start a project, whether it's a music video or a short film, you're generally looking at a mountain that you're gonna of art that you're gonna create out of nowhere. So we'll take Gatteka, for example. I think there's 36 puppets in that video and 2 gigantic sets. And I mean, everything is handmade or customized from something, that already exists to be used. So, and then starting, like the Jawa, for example, that ended up being 3,048 still pictures. So when I take that first picture, I'm like, I know that there's a lot more of that coming before we see anything that resembles the light of, the light at the end of the tunnel. So that can be very daunting, looking down that scope of going, there's thousands of pictures that need to be taken to make this come to life. So that's definitely the biggest challenge for me, for myself.
How has being a filmmaker and or an animator changed you as a person?
This another tough question. I got to give it to you, Paul. I guess the easy answer was I guess, and I don't know that this is a good or a bad thing, but I mean, I'm just being honest. It did actually make me more introverted. The more I get into my own little world, the more the stuff that floats around outside of that bubble doesn't really matter to me. So in one sense, it has made me more introverted. On the other sense, it did bring me closer to the people that I do have in my life, because I have friends and acquaintances that I've had for a really long time. And when I do take a break from animating to socialize, I appreciate them a lot more because I talk to them a lot less.
Are you working on any interesting projects at the moment? And if so, could you tell us a bit about it, please?
Touching on this earlier, I'm working on a short film. We're adapting H.P. Lovecraft for stop motion animation. So we are tackling the short story, The Beast in the Cave, which is probably not one of his more famous stories. It's a very simple story. It left a lot of room for cosmic horror. So that's the gig right now. Actually, currently might be working with Jim on that one. So yeah,
Jim Titus,
that'll be very exciting.
Absolutely, sounds great.
So yeah, it's been I'm 7 months in. I haven't shot a frame. As you can see the set behind me, this is the cave for The Beast in the Cave. And every day a little bit gets done, 8 hours provides a small bit.
You are making great progress then. That garage of yours, that background is absolutely fantastic. It's perfect for a cave.
Yep, yeah. And it's also the background to the Jawa. I got double use out of the cave.
Brilliant. Two for the price of one. What more could one ask for?
Absolutely nothing.
Outside of filmmaking and creating animation, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I don't actually have a whole lot of spare time because my favorite thing to do is work and create. So I guess the few things that I do would be I'd go for a walk maybe, try to watch a movie or catch up on something that's interesting. I don't get a chance to sit now that theaters are not open. I don't really get a chance to. I'm too. I can't focus on one thing. I need to. I'm always working. And then the other thing, and if I'm not actually working, I'm thinking about what is coming down the line. So everything I do revolves around animation, and even the spare time aspect is time spent preparing for projects down the line.
Lastly, and I cannot believe we're on the last question already, is there anything else you would like to say that you haven't as yet in this interview?
Not really. I'd just like to thank you again, Paul, for having me on, and maybe just put a nugget out there to anybody who stumbles upon this. And if you're looking to, whether it's create paintings or art or stop motion or films or books or whatever it is, I just keep doing it, because that's the ultimate thrill. The YouTube success or that kind of stuff is nice to be appreciated, but the ultimate thrill is to see it through. So just keep doing what you're doing, keep on keeping on, keep creating. Everybody out there, keep making stuff.
And that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you have enjoyed this interview with the filmmaker and animator Thomas J Yagodinski. Like, comment and hit that subscribe button, and tell me, what did you think of the interview? Do you agree that Thomas is talented, knowledgeable and vivacious? In the description below, I have left links to Thomas's social media accounts and to his videos. Get in touch with him and check out his videos, as Thomas is really talented. Plus, keep an eye out for his current project, which is an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's The Beast in the Cave. Moreover, my debut fantasy novella, The Sultan's Daughter, is out. If you are looking for a book that is short, fast-paced and full of suspense, then check it out. I have left a link for the book in the description below as well. Otherwise, until next time, keep well. Once again, guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button, and then you will be the first to receive more awesome content from my channel, and I hope to see you again soon.